Well, hello everyone and welcome to the webinar. My name is Josh McDaniel and I work with the Wildland Fire Lessons Learned Center, and I'll be moderating the webinar today. In a few minutes we'll get that started, but I wanted to make a few quick announcements just mostly about the upcoming webinars we have in the series. The webinar series is jointly sponsored by three organizations: the International Association of Wildland Fire, the Joint Fire Science Program, and the Wildland Fire Lessons Learned Center. And we usually have, sometimes during fire season, we scale back to about one webinar a month, but usually have at least two webinars per month. And we'll seems like we've been going about two a month for a while now, though. The two upcoming webinars that we have scheduled, Phil Van Mantgum of the Rocky Mountain Research Station is going to be giving a presentation on July 31st on climate change, fire, and tree mortality in the West. And then Bob Keene, who I believe Bob's also with the Rocky Mountain Research Station, or maybe the Missoula Fire Lab, he's going to be giving a presentation on August 20th on climate change tipping points. So a couple presentations on climate change coming up. I'll introduce the speaker for today in just a second, but first I want to let you know how questions work. If you have a question, I encourage you to get it in early. So the earlier you get it in, the higher up the queue it is, so the better chance we have of getting to it in case there's a lot of questions we're not able to work our way through them. But you can just type that question in the box that's either labeled chat or questions on your control panel. It should be to the right of your screen. And we'll have a question and answer period at the end of the presentation, so we won't stop to interrupt the speaker, but we'll try to get through all the questions at the end. And then also the webinar is being recorded, so we're going to record the webinar, and it'll be posted on the Advances in Fire Practice page. And I put a screenshot of Advances in Fire Practice up there. And then also there's a link there that'll take you to the Advances in Fire Practice page as well. And that's where you can register for the webinars that are listed, or you can find the link to the previous webinars. And so we'll have today's webinar up pretty soon, and then we have archived of all the other webinars we've had over the last couple of years as well. I believe there's over 40 in the archives now. All right, so on to today. Reginald Goolsby is going to be presenting today, and Reginald is a fire ecologist trainee on the Francis Marion Sumter National Forest in South Carolina. He primarily works in prescribed fire operations, fire effects monitoring, and wildfire suppression. He received his Bachelor's of Communications from Furman University and his Master's of Forestry Resources from Clemson. He also serves as liaison to the Development Division of Pyrotech Solutions, and he's here to discuss Pyrotech Solutions' newest application, the prescribed fire prioritization software named Imagine. And with that, I'll turn, I had a little bio screen for Reginald there. So, okay, so with that, I will turn it over to Reginald, and he can take it from there.
Okay. Well, my name is Reginald Goolsby. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I know it's a busy time of the year, and I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to review but Imagine's newest creation, fire prioritization software. Hold on one second. Okay. All right, sorry, a little screen popped up on mine. This is Imagine's fire prioritization software. It was created from a combination of a lot of different ideas and meeting with different people and just assessing what the needs were in prescribed fire through talking to fire researchers and prescribed fire managers. So exactly, why are we here? Essentially, when it comes to prescribed fire and wildland fire, we're at a crossroads because due to climate change, whether you can argue the causes of climate change, we are going through a part where our forests are in an unhealthy state, and we have the option of reintroducing fire to these ecosystems or leaving fire out of them, further degrading them, which is leading to increased fire behavior activity, amongst other things. Maybe that's not why you're here. Maybe you're here because you heard from someone or read some abstract. There's this new software that supposedly connects science to management. Supposedly, you haven't verified it, so you come to check it out. It's a new gadget that eliminates extra work. It gives you access in an easy-to-understand format. Or you've heard that it's one of my favorite talks and one of my favorite things to say. There's a one-button solution to eliminate computers out of your life. Sounds far-fetched. So you came to see whether or not, if that's true or not. Or maybe you heard that there's finally something that solves problems without creating more of them, only if that was true. Or maybe you're just curious to see what is on the horizon and what is coming up. Maybe that's not even why. Maybe you're here because, looking at the 1880s map, you want to see fire reintroduced into forested areas on this scale. That's 1880. This is 2011 prescribed fire acres burned in the U.S. That includes agriculture and forestry. So it doesn't look all that bad, but then you go to forested acres burned, and the picture gets a lot dimmer. So maybe you're here because you're trying to figure out how can we introduce fires into these much-needed landscapes. And so what exactly is prohibiting us from doing that? The state prescribed fire council put out a presentation probably about 2 years ago, a paper and from their section, they from interviewing tons of people, the top 3 problems that prescribed fire managers are facing today are capacity, weather, and smoke management. I'm sure many of you can relate to those topics. In the Northeast, the top 3 are capacity, weather, and resources. In the Southeast, in the Southeast, it's capacity, insurance, but right up there is smoke management and weather. You start to see a recurring theme. In the West, capacity, weather, and smoke management. These are the issues that are prohibiting us from increasing and putting more fire on the ground. And on top of that, it goes beyond that because fire managers have a lot more to think about. They got to think about the type of vegetation they're burning, how much is this going to cost to conduct this burn, the last time it was burned, the wind and smoke impact, am I going to put smoke into a smoke-sensitive area, fire behavior and controllability, am I going to be able to control this prescribed burn, am I going to be able to hold it and contain it? What if we don't burn today? Will I get another opportunity? Is it really best for this environment and this type of vegetation species? Is the ideal time of the year? Is this the right time? We know we need to burn it, but is this the right time to burn it? Will tomorrow be a better day? If I don't do it today, can I wait another day and get better results? How will I plan the rest of the year? There's a lot of unknowns and a lot of knowns in that. This is just on top of all those mitigation issues. These are some of the things, not all of them, there's some of the things that go through a prescribed manager's mind on every single day of their life. And there's no shortage of information to help us, to help them. Our research station has done a fabulous job. Kudos to them. If you go to Find Threat and just type in a single search that says fire ecology, you get 30,000 results. That being said, I don't know last time you've read 30,000 articles. I haven't. And the few that I have read, they're kind of hard to understand exactly what they're saying. But even with all the science and research, we went far beyond that. We have a ton of fire software applications. I will admit, at least me, I'm not the smartest in the world. Most of them are confusing. And how many of them can you sit down with and within 15 minutes with no instructions, know it in and out? I don't know a single one. I don't know almost any computer program that can do that. But they're available, so we have these resources available to us. But sometimes it makes you want to throw your computer out the window. Like, it creates more problems than they help with because we're required to have so much information. But these softwares and these products, they just aren't the best for us. So what we set out to do is to design a program with one button, whether it's from a cell phone or from a mouse or from a computer, as long as you have internet access, that could access all of this seamlessly, access all of that, and in any given moment, give you that, what's best for the environment. So what is the magic? That's what we named, that's what we're calling it. So what is this that I keep talking about? Well, it's a software that directly connects science to manage it. It allows researchers, scientists, resource specialists to take a specific burn compartment and specify the ideal burn parameters and conditions to complete their objectives. To achieve success, it processes that information into a two-button interface. I keep saying one button. It's really two buttons. One is prepare, one is view. But you only got to click one button. It incorporates ecological prioritization. So it assesses the type of vegetation you have the last time it was burned, where you are in the U.S., the season. It assesses all of that. But it also goes beyond just science application. It also assesses the things that matter as well. So logistical cost. One of the biggest problems we have with burning ground is capacity and resources. How much is it going to cost to burn this compartment? How many people we need? It takes those into account as well. But this doesn't stop there. We wanted to create the end-all science and management application. It also produces smoke management modeling projections, as well as expired behavior reports. All in one software, you got to click one button. Just hear me out, trust me on it. And the best part about it, it's adaptable to anywhere in the U.S., regardless of your federal or private. So this just isn't some federal program that you need all these privileges to run, or you need some high IT department to process it. Anybody can use this, anywhere. It's that simple. So how? I'm talking all this about the software. How? Well, when you log into your account, this is the first thing you'll see. It's a daily burn date interface. This automatically pulls in your weather from your weather station. Understand, you're not entering anything. As soon as you log in, this is what you get. Your weather's been pulled in already. The program knows exactly what time of year it is, whether it's growing season. It assesses all of your compartments. You put your entire burn database in. So if you have 200 burn compartments that you manage over a span of 20 years, you put all 200 in, and it assesses every single one against the weather, last time it was burned, how much it's going to cost to do this, logistically and financially, is this the best time to do it? And it tells users the available areas and the top priority areas. The ones that are top or what the program considers most important. But don't worry, you don't have to choose the one at the top. You can choose any one of those if you want to. If you wanted to, you can choose the one at the bottom. The program doesn't make the decision for you. It gives you choices. With one button, you click. You highlight, and you click prepare. Now, then what happens? You want to get to the technical parts of it, then what happens? So after you burn that compartment, it replaces that compartment, the last burn date, to that date that you burn it. And it restores it back into the database. So now it's recalculating again, and it knows the next time that it should come back up to be burned again. But it goes farther than that. It's not just a prioritization software. With that one click of a button, you're also going to get expired behavior reports. You're also going to get your smoke management reports for our federal and agency users. It's also going to submit your stock forecast for you. No more going to the weather page and typing it in for you. It's going to do it for you. It's going to send it for you. And guess what happens? Instead of having to go back and watch that pending page and trying to get the information, wait for the weather service to get it back to you, this program will wait for the weather service to resubmit it. So it's no longer pending. It's going to package all the information for you in a zip file. It's going to send it to your email. And you're going to be able to get a forecast out for 3 days of your burn compartment. You can only prepare a compartment on the date of today, but you're going to get to see a forecast all with one button. And it's even better because with your cell phone, you don't got to get out of bed to go to your computer. You can log on from your cell phone without returning your laptop beside your bed and see exactly what you have available today. You like this compartment, any one of the lists, don't have to be the one at the top. You click it, you prepare to burn, you turn your phone off, you catch maybe 15, 20 more minutes of sleep, and you get into work, and it's sending your computer all your products waiting for you. You haven't opened a single computer program and typed in a single data source today. So how does it work? Sounds really cool, but sounds maybe too good to be true. So how exactly does it work? The first thing you would do is GIS-based. There's an ArcMap template that will be downloaded with the software, and the user basically, you just draw in your compartments, your polygons. Many of our private industries, as well as our federal industries, they have GIS departments. So you just draw your polygons. And if you already have maps made, I can promise you that you already have these polygons somewhere. So it's not a matter of you doing it, just finding what you already have. So you draw your polygons for all your compartments. And then what do you do? From inside ArcMap, never open up a web browser. There's going to be a little button that says log in. Put in your username and password, log in, it'll wait for a second, and it gets in. Well, one button's going to be dim, the other button is going to come alive, it's going to say upload. You click the upload button. You draw your polygons, and you click the upload button. And that's it. How and what exactly does it do? Upon each one of those polygons, there's going to be land cover maps, or basic eco-region assessed maps that we're going to create. Each vegetation is used in gap data. Each vegetation is going to be given an ecological rating based on inspired behavior and qualities, as well as inspired dependency issues, as well as its inspired importance. Also, using digital elevation maps for my GIS users. Using those maps is also going to pull in your terrain information, your elevation, average elevation for the burn, your slope attributes. We need that in slope, especially for our inspired behavior reports, because slope affects inspired behavior, inspired behavior. So what it does, based on that polygon compartment, it pulls all the information in. You don't have to do any of this. You won't even see any of this. All you do is draw your polygon and click upload. But Reggie, what about adaptability? We don't want another program that we can't use everywhere. We have our own fire ecology. We don't want yours. We don't want yours. We have our own resource specialist. We think your map is stupid. We have our own GIS specialist. We don't want you to do it for us. We don't want your advice, just your program. That would not hurt my feelings. You won't be the first one to tell me that. I'm totally okay with that. We built this for you, not for me. Trust me, you're not the first one to come along with that idea. The Central Escarpment team in North Carolina, they got their own eco-region map. U.S. Army Fort Hood, they have their own eco-region map. Camp Lejeune, they have their own eco-region maps. Eglin Air Force Base, they have their own eco-region map. We're not asking you to recreate the wheel, nor are we asking you to use our information. Use your own. We're totally okay with that. If you do have these maps, and you probably already have a GIS department, and it's so as simple as taking your map and using the reclassify tool and talk to your GIS specialist, they do know what that tool is. You just reclassify your values on a scale of 1 to 10, and then what do? After you reclassify your layer, you draw your polygons. Yeah, I'm waiting for it to catch up. There you go. You draw your polygons, you log into your account, and you click upload. That's it. That's it. You draw your polygons, and you click upload. And then, for the first time ever, you log into your account. And this is probably what you're going to see. Now, I don't know if I said this the first time, this is not the user interface you will see when this program is actually released. This is our testing interface. So, and from what I've been told, they're going to release the feature interface sometime this November, projectively. That's what I've been told. But basically, you just go now. You see there's no compartments available. Basically, you got just raw information from your ArcMap. So you do your polygons, you upload it, and you close out ArcMap. Fine. You log into your account, and the weather's going to be there. The weather's being pulled in from your closest location. So when you sign up, it has your information. The weather's being pulled in. There's nothing available. So you go to database entry. So now, when you drew your polygons, or the polygons you already had in your GIS database, you uploaded them to the server, you're going to select your compartment. And your acres are already calculated. You ain't got to do all that. You ain't got to do that. So you go and select your compartment. Now you enter information that probably isn't already in your prescribed burn program, information that you probably have written down somewhere already. So this information you already have. You don't got to do this one time. This is the setup phase. This is a one-button program, but the setup phase is a little bit more than one button. But it's just information that you already have. You just enter the last time it was prescribed burn. Allowable burn direction. Every compartment can be burned from every direction. So you pick the direction that it can be burned in. Now, what does that do? We have our program that says weather history. It predicts, based on historical data, on average, how many winds, north winds, you're going to get in this particular month or this particular burn season. It predicts how many northeast winds you're going to get, how many west winds, and so forth. And it takes that, and say if you have a compartment that you can only burn with a north wind versus a compartment you can burn with any wind, I know you already know if you get a north wind, you have to burn that compartment today because you may not get another choice. But the program knows too. It knows because you just told it that. And you also select the type of burning is, because while I'm a fire ecologist trainee, I love vegetation. I can't ignore the fact that money, talk, and cost plays a very big part. So you select the type of burn it is. Is it an aerial burn? Is it a helicopter? Or is it a hand burn? Or is it both? It can go both ways. So then it shows in both categories. And you select the closest weather station. Funding emphasis and restrictions data. Maybe you're a private forester and you manage a lot of different people. And you won't tell anybody. You got one landowner that may be just a tad bit more important than the next. Or if you're a federal agency, you get funding from different areas to do your prescribed burning. So you have your hazardous field dollars and you have your wildlife dollars. Well, your wildlife dollars kind of more important in reality. When you won't tell anybody than your hazardous fields. So you'll specify your funding emphasis. So, you know, if you have acres that are being funded by an imported source, the program takes that into account. Remember, when you go to your burn data interface, they're all in order. It assesses all of this. Restriction dates. Now, what is that? We live in the realm of reality. I know with the Forest Service, we're a multi-use agency. We do timber harvest. So a lot of times, we have a compartment that we're going to start marking for timber come April 1st. And regardless of vegetation or regardless of anything else, if you don't burn before April 1st, you've lost it for the next 10 years. When you put in a restriction date, the program takes into account. It knows that it has to be done by then, and I promise you, the first chance it gets is going to be up there. Now, if the wind doesn't line up, if the rain doesn't line up, and all that doesn't line up, then it won't show up. But the first chance it gets, it knows it has a deadline. It's going to put it at the top. Science. Okay, I've been talking about doing science and management. The last I've been talking about has been all management type stuff. Science. Our scientists are really good at what they do. So now we're able to go through each compartment and put a fire ecologist on every single burn. Because they can come in and specify the different fire parameters, whether it's day, sense, rain, KDBI, temperature, your RHs, the type of growing season that needs to be done, your wind speed, smoke management guidelines, fire return interval. We know that's important. They can even put in comments of what they need to accomplish. So now, when you go out and burn, you have all this information in front of you. You know exactly why you're out there. You can even store your maps with it. So, you know, so now when you prepare your burn information, your map is in that packet as well. You don't even have to go look for that anymore. It's there because you've already put it there. And then you do that for your entire prescribed fire burn database, all 200 burns. You do it for all 200 burns. You do it one time. If you ever need to go back and re-edit a polygon, it's easy. Open up the ArcMap program, edit your polygon, upload. If the information stays the same, the only thing that's going to change is the acre and the eco value score. But you don't have to calculate any of that. The program does it for you. So now you went through and you created your database. Fairly easy. You drew your polygons, you uploaded them, and you just put in basically the information that's in your prescribed burn plan, and you got your resource specialist, or if you don't have one, we will provide one for you, come in and fill out the science information. And all your weather, each polygon applies to a GPS coordinate, whether you realize it or not in ArcMap. You don't have to get an SY coordinate. It knows the closest weather station. It's going to put it in. All that has been assessed, and now it gives you a list of every compartment available, and the ones at the top are the most important. Not only that, maybe you just want to see what's available this year and what's been past in recent years. You can just show everything that's due. Or you can show everything that's due from now to 2032. It's your choice. But it displays them for you. But what about adaptability? We don't want a program that doesn't work everywhere. Don't give me something here that won't work somewhere else. Well, don't worry. The cost, I keep talking about how much it costs. Well, in the setup, in the user preferences, you specify how much it costs to do these burns per acre, hand for a hand burn, for an area burn. Again, this is the old testing interface. It's going to look a lot different than this. It'll look a lot better. It'll be a lot easier to use. There's a lot of buttons on this. Your high priority funding sources. You specify what those are, and if you need to enter acres into them, you enter acres. If you don't have any, just leave it blank. Burn season month. How do it know what growing season it is? Well, maybe we don't burn it all during June and July, regardless of season. Well, when you first open the program up, you specify your burn season months. Well, let's say down the road you get an unreasonably warm winter and leaf out happens in March instead of April. Well, now March all of a sudden became a growing season, even though the program thinks that March is the dormant season. Just come in and switch March to growing. And that's it. You don't have to recalculate anything. It's all in your user preference. You can do that. It's made to adapt to you. And you do this one time. This isn't something you do all the time. You do this the first time you open the program, and you never touch it again, unless you want to. And this is what you see when you open up the program. You get your burn day interface, where you haven't entered a single thing. It pulls in your weather for you, and it says all of that stuff that I've mentioned and talked about. It goes through all of that, and it gives you everything that's available. The top is the priority area, according to the program. But we don't want a computer making a decision for us. No computer, and I say this, no computer can ever replace a man on the ground. So the computer's just going to give you a list of everything. The man still makes the choices, or woman. And we've been through this. You burn it, when you come back in, whether you do it the next morning or the next day, next time you log in, it's going to ask you, did you complete that burn? You can click yes or no. You're still clicking one button. And then if you click no, the last burn date doesn't change. It goes back into the database and gets recalculated. If you click yes, you completed it, it goes back into the database, and just come back over to the next time it needs to. You don't have to go through and do a yearly plan trying to figure out what burn compartments you need to burn next year. It's going to give you fire behavior reports, the prediction reports. Our federal user is going to submit your spot forecast and go get it for you. It's going to print all your maps or IAPs. I know IAPs are hard to store because you don't know who's going to be on the lineup for that day. But you can always store your maps and any other information, your go, no-go checklist. Just store it with that, and it's going to have all that in your zip file ready for you. And you can always look up for 72 hours out to see, based on the weather, this is what we might have tomorrow and day after tomorrow. Hold on a second. Do you want to change color scheme for me? Okay, whatever. I'm still going, sorry, computer doesn't. See, I hate computers. My point is that. Okay, suppose you want to click on a compartment, but you don't want to prepare all the information. You just want to see the visuals of it on your phone. You just want a pop-up box that's going to give you that information without sending all that and submitting stuff to the weather service. Well, you can click view, and you can view a stored map if you want to. It'll probably be in the PDF file or JPEG or PNG or TIFF, however you stored it. But you can view your fire behavior reports and your smoke management reports. You can run a single program. All you click was view, one button. And what you're going to get in your zip file, you wonder what kind of reports you're going to have. So you're going to report from the Hay +5. It's going to be very similar to that. It's going to be more than likely it's going to be closer than you think to the same format output of a Hay +5. Your spot weather forecast. I told you it's going to submit that for you, and then it's going to go get it for you, and that's what you're going to get in return. Your smoke management. It's going to be very similar to bee smoke. I don't know if you like bee smoke in the southeast. It's going to be very similar to bee smoke in the southeast. And it gets you all that with one click of a button, in one button. On the past screen, I forgot to mention this, and I do apologize, but I'm not going to go back because of the way the webinar is working. The fire ecologist will specify in that little parameter box the field model codes that are present. So that's how it knows what vegetation to run the fire behavior reports on. The fire ecologist or the resource specialist or whoever or your burn boss can do it. I'm not saying your burn boss can't do that information. But the program was designed to connect science to management. And you get all that at your computer with one click of a button. You can do that without ever getting out of bed and turning on your lamp. If you have a smartphone, because the back of it is lit up and it shines bright, might as well be a lamp. So what about adaptability? You don't want something that works in South Carolina but won't work in California. But KDBI isn't relevant to me here. I don't know what that is. We don't use it. That's totally okay. We use something else. That's totally fine. Each interface will be built and customized according to the region and where you're located. And what I mean by that, you're not going to see South Carolina only relevant information parameters like KDBI and the certain field model code. You won't see that in the California model interface, but you'll see it in South Carolina. You're not going to, even though if that may be too big of a contrast, you won't see a Georgia Mountain only parameter interface in South Florida because everything is different. We don't use the same information to do our burns. Each region is going to have its own interface. Adaptability. What if I start a burn today, things go gunny sack, we cut it off, and we don't complete the whole burn. Now, supposedly, you have a conundrum. You got this compartment, you only got half of it, but the program thinks you got all of it. Not so fast, my friend. Of course, so. That burn didn't become any less important because you got half of it. So it's going to still be calculated on the ecological value of the whole burn. Vegetation is still just as important. But when you come back in, and if you click, did you complete this burn today, and you click no, then little screen is going to pop up and going to say, well, did you complete part of it? No, goes away. But you're going to be able to specify how many acres you completed that day. So out of a 1,000-acre burn, we only got 500 acres. That's fine. So you click 500, you tell it you only got 500 acres of that burn. So what it's going to do is going to recalculate that burn based on 500 acres. Ecologically, it's going to be just as important before, but logistically, it's going to be 500 acres. So we still want to get that burn done this year. But it's going to be okay if you're not able to get it all in one day. And the fire behavior report, the smoke management report, because there's so much tied to acres and tonnage, your fuel loading and how big is how many PM2.5 you put into the air. Because you specify how many acres you got the first time, it takes that into account. Don't worry, we're not going to leave you stranded with something that you can't apply. But it goes beyond that. Now, some people are going to like this, some are going to hate it. And that's up to your boss. There will also be admin accounts that are available. So, an admin account, say you have a forest FMO that has 3 AFMOs. When an AFMO has burn information, gets all that deep information emailed to them, the admin account user will also get CC on that information as well. So when one burn boss selects a burn for that day or 2 burns for that day, if they want to go that much, the admin account is going to get that email as well. You ain't got to call them, you ain't got to tell them. They're going to get the email as well. So as soon as they open that computer, as soon as you get your burn information, they're going to get it too. So they're looking at the same thing you're looking at. They can actively see the burn list of every account below them that they own. So now FMO, if he has, I'm located in South Carolina, if he's in Columbia, which is in another state, and he has FMOs from the mountains to the coast, he can still, from his cell phone, see all the burn information from his phone. So if he's got an admin account, he got 3 burn bosses, 3 burn bosses have their own list. He can get a combined list on his phone that's everything available in the entire state that he controls. And then when his burn bosses prepare information for those burns, he gets the email as well. But we didn't stop there. Everything is automated. The weather is all automatically pulled in. In that zip file, I'm not sure I put it in this presentation. I should run this better. You will also get, along with your spot forecast, you're going to get your fire weather reports too. Like when you go to the weather.gov and you go to your fire weather, you're also going to get that printout as well. But you don't have to go look for it. It comes to you, and you can access that from your phone by simply logging into your account. Remember, it's all automated. And every time the weather service updates their account, whether 8 hours or 12 hours, it's going to be updated as well. Record keeping, you know how that goes. Now you're going to be able to also produce reports and master records of past treatments and locations. I don't know about many of you, but how many of you know exactly if you went back to a specific burn that you did 10 years ago, what was the temperature that day, what day you did it on, what was the RHs that day, with the wind speed, now you got a program that keeps all your past history records, and you can run a report at any time. You can get all your past information. What if you don't use ArcMap? This is for my private landowners. All of us don't have, I don't know how much ArcMap costs, it's pretty expensive. Well, you can go to Google Earth, which is free, draw your KML file, or draw your polygon, save them as a KML or KMP file, and just upload them to the website. It will not be instantaneous like ArcMap, but there's a 24-hour turnaround, or what I've been told will be about a 24-hour turnaround. And as soon as your KML file is uploaded, you better come back to your account the next day, and you have all the same information as the basic ArcMap user would have. And now you can spatially monitor your fire report. So like at the end of the year, when you want to just print out a big map of the U.S. and see exactly where we burned acres, it's recorded. You can pull that information because it's already there. Now you don't have to call around to 15 people. Will you send me what you did? Will you send me that? Will you go find that? If you're the admin account, it's already there. Or if you're local, your information is always there. So what's next? What I've been told is the first version is going to be only available in the Southeast in 2014. I'm sorry, but it takes a lot of time to prepare a state for this program. A lot goes into it. But we're currently working with fire ecologists and fire managers across the U.S. In order for this to work the way we want it to, each region and location has to be very specific to the user. Now, we can release this entire program to everyone, but people in California are probably going to get the same program. It's not going to work. So we're taking the time to do it right the first time around instead of doing it wrong and coming back and having to fix it. So we're going to start in the Southeast because that's where we are, that's where we're located, and we're going to expand as we grow. When you get the program, now I put this into the PowerPoint. I'm not sure the Prioritization Solutions agrees with me on this. They probably would not, but I'm going to say this anyway. If you need any other program, if this program doesn't work for you, say you get it and you hate it, and it doesn't work for you, we will customize, well, they will customize the program just for you. I'm still working on that part of the deal. I can't promise that, but they will customize the program just because the point is to create fire applications that the user can use that doesn't require a week-long course to figure out how to use it. We need it simplified. A lot of the information we put into our fire weather program are the same information. We enter the weather 4 times in one morning into 4 different locations. Why can't we just pull the weather in automatically and have something in reports? We're not reinventing the wheel. We're just putting it on a better bike. But if we do the design program, there's only one case. You have to use one button because that's one thing I refuse to do. If I don't solve your needs, then that means I'm adding more problems to you, and I would not add more problems to anybody because I don't want them myself. Who do I have to thank for this? Prioritization Solutions. They are the ones who took my crazy wild brain idea and took a chance on me and turned it into something reality. I could not have done this on my own. I'm not smart enough, nor can our computer program. I just can't do it. So thank you to them. I have to say that. My mentor, Beth Buchanan, she's a regional fire ecologist, Forest Service. I know more of her than she would ever know, so if you ever get to meet her, just listen to her talk. She's amazing. And the Fire Learning Network, she introduced me to the Fire Learning Network. They have some of the most amazing people that work with them, and I'm not smart enough to come up with this on my own. This is the ideas of tens, and I would go as far as say hundreds of people that worked together and decided only if we had this. And here's where the names come from. I kept hearing, imagine if we had that. Well, let's put imagine and start doing it. Now I'm open for questions. Oh, the Power Nerd Weekly is my website. If you want any more information, I'm going to put this PowerPoint up on my website. Prioritization Solutions, that's their web link. They're pretty much in charge of producing Imagine. If you want to get on the mailing list to know exactly when they're going to be done with it or when they're going to have, releases about information about when it's going to be released and be open, that's where you need to go. I've done all I can with the program up to this point. But I'll be open to answering any questions that anyone may have.
All right, Reginald, thank you. Appreciate that. That was a very interesting presentation on a very interesting program, and I appreciate your information on that. We have a couple questions that have come in, and I'll read them out in a second, but I just kind of wanted to start off with one that, and you may have mentioned this and I might have missed it right at the beginning, but how about using this for simulations, for, sort of playing out different scenarios of sort of landscape level prescribed fire treatments? Would this be something that could be useful for that?
Simulations, not right now. The basis of this program is just give the person information. So when they click their compartment and prepare for a burn, they're going to get basically the information they need to go out and conduct a prescribed burn. They're going to get where the weather is going to go, their fire behavior report, their weather forecast. It's not going to give them any kind of vegetation simulation. I would love to get to that one day, and maybe if this thing actually progresses, then maybe something in the future. But right now, it just, it produces all the reports that people already produce now. It just does it for them without them having to go to the computer and take up time out of their day. So it was kind of designed to make fire managers' lives easier, give them access to science on every single burn, and just pretty much make their life easier.
Okay. Okay, and the first question is from Greg Harry, and he's wanting to know if this could be adapted to Australia prescribed fire planning. And I guess that sort of opens up the question of, you mentioned that it was going to be ready for South Carolina in 2014. What is the timeline for moving beyond South Carolina to other parts of the country and other parts of the South? And then Australia is probably a little farther down the road, I'm guessing.
The timetable was that this entire program, I don't know, from what I've been, how I plan it, is one big long math equation. What it takes to progress from one location to the next, it's not something very complicated. It takes a vegetation layer. Now, if someone already has that layer, then we don't have to create it. It takes a vegetation layer, a digital elevation map that has to have slope and aspect to deal with fire effects. The only thing, and that's all it would take, and it has to have access to weather service. Now, we only are plugged into the weather services in the U.S., so dealing with Australia, that would be, I'm not familiar with their weather service or their web pages. If the weather services, if all the weather stations are online and you can access them through XML and all the computer programming jargon that I don't know, then that part would be relatively easy. What would not be easy is fire behavior and smoke management reports, because the vegetation is so different from here than it is there. Now, they can choose vegetation that's similar to what we have here, but it's definitely based on vegetation that we have here. Now, that being said, if there are some fire behavior programs out there that that is used in Australia now, I don't see an issue with redesigning the program to incorporate those into it, but that's going to be way down the road. We got to get to the U.S. first, unfortunately.
Okay. Next question is from Matt McCaw, and he asks, can Imagine consider adjacent black/burned areas in prioritization? That is, can it prioritize burn units that have recently burned units adjacent and downwind?
Okay. That is one of the issues that have been brought up to me before. Will it consider that? When I'm gonna start with saying no, but I want you to hear me out and just don't chew me out because I said no. With the cost and dealing with the logistical side of the burn, which is the cost part of it, we got into a big debate over what goes into the cost. Yes, if it's black on that side, you don't have to put anybody there to hold it. But what happens with those black burns? And will the program be able to interpret that? So in this first version, it just does a cost per acre, so it does not take into account how many miles of dozer line you have versus how many. It's going to treat 1,000 acres the same, whether it's all hand lines or it's all surrounded by a river and you can bring with a helicopter. And the reason it's that way is simply for the fact that we couldn't agree on a way to do it. Everyone had a different idea. So if we all couldn't agree, we decided that it was best to leave it out. and then put something in that someone disagreed with.
Okay.
So I'm sorry on that.
Claudia Standish wants to know what programs you use to determine smoke forecasts.
Okay, smoke forecast is going to be based on the region. In the southeast, we're going to be using big smoke. I've had some people mention high split, and that's very well possible. The first edition this spring is going to be strictly big smoke. Now, I'm talking with them, and I say if because this entire program is entirely based off of initial reception when it's released. Prioritization Solutions, they've been amazing building this, but they're not going to, they are a private industry and they can't pour money into it if it's not producing. So the first initial program is going to be V-Smoke. We want to get to the point, and this is what I want. I want to get to the point where in the setup file, the user can select whether it's V-Smoke, house split, out west, blue sky playground. Like, we want it to be if the user can designate in their user preferences what the smoke management is going to get. But the very first one in the southeast will be V-Smoke.
Okay.
And that's simply because it's the cheapest one to produce.
Okay. David Weiss wants to know how much time does it take to enter the information that's needed to make the program run?
Okay. That information depends on how much the information the user needs. If you have 5 compartments and you know everything about it, it'll take you 5 minutes. But if you have 200 compartments to enter, it's going to take you considerably longer. As far as going through that list, it's information. If you have a burn boss that's familiar with the area and a fire ecologist that's familiar with the vegetation, it won't take very long at all. If you have one person that knows it all, because you're just going to put in the same information that's in your burn plan. And it really is typing in last date burn, picking your weather direction. You don't have to look up a weather station because when your GPS coordinates comes in, it's going to give you probably about, usually it's only going to be one choice. But if it's like somewhere in the middle, it's going to give you 2 choices. You choose one of the weather stations. And if you don't have any special funding acre, you leave them blank. If there's no restriction date, you leave it blank. And the parameters, here's the thing with the parameters. They're made to keep compartments, kick them in and keep them in and kick them out. But say that you don't care about them, just put 0 to 100. That way it'll never kick out anything. And then you can always go back in and edit and change that later. So it took me on the inner ranger district when I was playing around with it, I put 20 compartments in, and after it took me in the testing phase about 5 minutes to go through and put in each information for that compartment, for all 20 of those compartments. And once you do that, you never got to do it again unless the compartment size changes. And then you would fit that in ArcMap. Just draw the polygon and click upload.
Okay. Michael Edwards wants to know if there will be a mobile version available for smartphones, iPhones, etc. If so, when would that be available?
There will be a mobile version. It will be available the same day the standard program will be available.
Okay. So spring 2014 is the expected date for that?
Yes.
Okay.
The release date, which I don't have, is the same for the both of them, because they work hand in hand. The whole idea was give users the ability to access their information easily anywhere they have cell service or internet connection.
Okay. And then sort of related to that, Joel Carson wants to know what kind of cost will be associated with it.
I do not know. I'm not involved in that. This is going to sound kind of funny, but I want to keep my job, so I'm not getting paid for doing this. It's my idea. I do not know. I do not know. If I got involved in that, I don't think I could still work for the Forest Service and do this at the same time. So I don't know. I'm sorry.
Okay. And then sort of a, let's see, there's a similar question to the one above. Clara Casada is wanting to know if this would be possible with regional adaptations to use this in Mediterranean countries such as Spain.
And I would go as far as that, same as Australia. The actual ecological part, yes. Because all you need is your polygon you're going to create. and a vegetation layer. The fire behavior reports, the smoke management reports, the smoke emissions and the fire behavior, they're based off of vegetation in these programs, and they're based off of, what I understand, U.S.-related vegetation. If you can find something that's similar to that, then yes, it will work. But also understanding that they are based off of U.S. vegetation. Now, if there are other programs available, then down the road, then I can see yes incorporating that as well.
Okay. All right, Reginald. Well, that's all the questions we have right now. So I appreciate your time, and I appreciate your the very interesting information you presented on this new program, and we look forward to seeing what comes out of it.
Okay, fantastic. Like I said, if you want to be updated on what's happening with Imagine, you can go to my personal website, which is powernerd62@weebly.com. There's a contact form on there. You can send me an email from there, or if you got my office number, you can call me there. I'm hardly ever in the office if you can. Or you can just go to Power Solutions website and just subscribe to the mail list. It's at the bottom of it. It's a very simple website.
All right, and I'd also like to remind everybody that the webinar is being recorded, and I'll post that on Advances in Fire Practice as soon as this is over, and you can pass that link along to anyone you think might be interested in hearing and seeing this as well. And with that, I'll say thank you again, Reginald, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you everyone for coming. I would really appreciate it.
Sure.